Good day. Did you know? In 2025, the US immigration crackdown has reached a whole new level, and thousands of Asian nationals are now facing sudden deportations, even those who've lived in America for years. But here's the shocking part. Several Asian countries have just been added to the US deportation priority list, all due to serious issues like visa fraud, overstaying, illegal entry, and national security concerns. This isn't speculation. This is happening right now. If you or someone you know is from any of these countries, you'll want to pay close attention. Here are the 10 Asian countries now facing US deportations in 2025. Some of them will truly surprise you. Number 10. Mongolia. Why is Mongolia part of this list? At first glance, Mongolia might seem like an unexpected addition. It's not often in the headlines or on immigration watch lists, but that's exactly why it's now under the radar. In recent years, there's been a quiet but steady rise in Mongolian nationals overstaying their visas in the US, particularly through lesser-known travel routes. As US immigration agencies widen their focus to include smaller migrant populations, Mongolia has found itself caught in the wave of intensified enforcement. What makes the situation even more delicate is that many Mongolians in the US entered legally, often as tourists, students, or temporary workers. But with the tightening of immigration laws and overstays now triggering fast-track deportation proceedings, even minor technical violations can lead to serious consequences. The US has started cracking down on overstayers regardless of their country's political relationship, and Mongolia is no exception. While the Mongolian government has yet to formally respond to the rising cases, undocumented nationals now face growing uncertainty. Increased coordination between immigration offices and data tracking systems means even those living quietly in small communities may be flagged. The era of quiet migration has ended, and for Mongolian immigrants in 2025, the pressure is mounting like never before. Oh wait, before we move on, do you think these immigration rules are fair? Or are they going too far in 2025? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let us know where you're watching from. We're excited to see how far this video reaches. Number 9. Cambodia. Why is Cambodia included in this list? Cambodia has a long history of migration to the United States, especially during the era of war and political unrest in the 1970s and 1980s. Many Cambodian nationals arrived as refugees and have built lives in the US for decades. However, with shifting immigration priorities in 2025, even longtime residents are now at risk. Those with outdated legal status, unresolved documentation, or past infractions are facing increased scrutiny, and in many cases, deportation proceedings. What's making matters worse is the growing cooperation between the US and Cambodian governments on deportation agreements. In the past, there were diplomatic and logistical challenges that slowed removals. But now, with a more open dialogue between the two countries, deportation processes have become more streamlined. US immigration officials are now acting faster on Cambodian cases that were once left pending or delayed. The fear is real among Cambodian American communities. Families that have lived in the US for generations now find themselves vulnerable. One expired visa, one unresolved document, or one old misdemeanor could be all it takes for someone to face removal. In 2025, Cambodia has clearly become one of the key targets in the US government's tightened immigration enforcement. Number 8. Laos. Why is Laos included in this list? Laos is now on the radar because of recent shifts in US immigration enforcement. For years, deportation of Laotian nationals was slow due to limited cooperation between the two countries. But in 2025, that changed. Laos has agreed to work more closely with the US, making it easier to process removals, especially for undocumented or out-of-status individuals. Unlike larger immigrant communities, Laotians in the US often have fewer legal resources and support networks. This makes them more vulnerable when policies tighten. The US sees Laos as a country with limited reintegration issues, which makes deportation logistically easier and less controversial compared to other nations. Now, Laotian families, many of whom have lived quietly for years, are facing renewed pressure. Immigration officers are prioritizing communities that were once overlooked, and Laos is now part of that wave. For those without strong legal standing, the risk of being sent back is more real than ever. Number 7. Vietnam. Why is Vietnam on this list? In 2025, the US has increased pressure on Vietnam to accept more deportees due to a growing number of unresolved immigration cases. In the past, diplomatic tensions made the process slow and complicated. But now, stricter policies are pushing Vietnamese nationals, especially those with visa issues or removal orders, into the spotlight. Those with overstayed visas, pending cases, or incomplete documentation are at higher risk. Even longtime residents are not exempt. Under current enforcement, the US is focusing more on Southeast Asian nationals, and Vietnam is high on that list because of the renewed cooperation between both governments. For many Vietnamese American communities, the fear has returned. Cases that were once ignored or delayed are now being reopened. With the US more determined than ever to reduce undocumented populations, Vietnamese nationals without clear legal status are among the most vulnerable in this 2025 immigration crackdown. Number 6. Kyrgyzstan. Why is Kyrgyzstan on the list of countries facing deportations from the US in 2025? Like other Central Asian nations, Kyrgyzstan is under scrutiny due to concerns over document fraud, illegal border crossings, and unreliable identification systems. Because of these risks, US immigration authorities have tightened their screening of Kyrgyz citizens. Even those without criminal records are facing tougher visa renewals, and some are now subject to removal simply due to administrative issues. In many cases, their country of origin alone places them under stricter observation. Regardless of how long they've lived in the US, the harsh reality is that many Kyrgyz migrants are quietly being affected by these new enforcement policies. In 2025, just one paperwork error could be enough to lose the chance to stay, without even getting a fair hearing. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future uploads. Also, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let us know what you think about this topic. We're all ears. Number 5. Tajikistan. Why is Tajikistan now under the spotlight in US deportation efforts? Regional concerns about extremism, illegal migration patterns, and weak passport controls have placed Tajik nationals under tighter scrutiny. With national security being a top priority in 2025, immigration authorities have intensified their review of migrants from this Central Asian nation. For Tajiks living in the US without solid legal status, the pressure is growing. Even minor documentation issues, like expired work permits or unrenewed visas, can now trigger deportation proceedings. Unlike before, there's little room for leniency. Immigration enforcement has become swift and unforgiving, especially for individuals without strong legal backing. This shift paints a worrying picture for Tajik families who've built quiet lives in the US. Some have lived there for years, working hard and staying out of trouble. Yet they now find themselves suddenly vulnerable. In 2025, it's clear that even silence and good behavior are no longer enough to ensure safety from deportation. Number 4. Uzbekistan. Why is Uzbekistan now under the radar of US immigration in 2025? A growing number of Uzbek nationals have been attempting to enter the US through Latin America, a route often linked to illegal migration. This rising pattern has triggered tighter border enforcement and placed Uzbek migrants under greater risk of deportation. Adding to the pressure, the U.S. considers several Central Asian countries as potential security concerns. Even without a criminal record, many Uzbek citizens are subjected to strict background checks simply because of their country of origin. If documents are expired, incomplete, or questionable, deportation proceedings can happen quickly. What's alarming is that many of these individuals are just seeking a better life, working quietly, contributing to society. But under 2025's tougher immigration policies, even one mistake can cost everything. Good behavior alone is no longer enough to guarantee safety from removal. Number 3. Myanmar. Why is Myanmar one of the countries facing intensified deportation actions from the U.S. in 2025? The answer lies in its ongoing civil unrest and military-controlled government. With political instability worsening and human rights issues unresolved, U.S. immigration has grown more cautious in processing cases involving Myanmar nationals, especially those without legal status. The lack of a stable, cooperative government makes deportations more complicated, but it also puts undocumented migrants in a vulnerable spot. In many cases, delays in legal processing or unclear asylum claims have led to sudden deportation notices. The U.S. sees this unpredictability as a risk, both in terms of immigration control and national security. What's troubling is that many migrants from Myanmar originally came to escape violence and persecution. But now, in 2025, even those who once sought refuge are finding themselves at the center of stricter enforcement. For them, staying under the radar is no longer enough. One wrong move, or even a missing document, could mean being sent back to a country still in crisis. Number 2. Iran. Why is Iran considered high risk by U.S. immigration authorities in 2025? It all ties back to long-standing national security concerns. Iran's controversial nuclear program, alleged ties to extremist groups, and its tense relationship with Western powers have kept the country under tight surveillance. As a result, even peaceful, law-abiding Iranian nationals are now facing intense scrutiny. Many are being denied visa renewals, extensions, or re-entry, even with clean records. The mere fact of their nationality often triggers additional vetting or outright rejection. For the U.S., Iran is a country that represents potential risk, and immigration enforcement has grown increasingly strict toward anyone connected to it. What's alarming is that many of these individuals have lived in the U.S. for years, building careers, raising families, and following every rule. But under the 2025 policies, good conduct no longer guarantees safety. People who once felt secure in their status are now living in fear, as one policy update could change everything overnight. Number 1. China. Why are Chinese nationals facing increased deportation risks in the U.S. in 2025? The answer lies in the escalating tensions between the two superpowers. Issues like espionage, intellectual property theft, and political influence campaigns have pushed the U.S. government to impose stricter immigration controls on Chinese visitors and immigrants. Because of these concerns, Chinese nationals now undergo more rigorous visa screenings and face greater scrutiny for even minor immigration infractions. The U.S. views China as a significant strategic rival, and this competitive dynamic spills over into immigration enforcement, making it tougher for many Chinese immigrants to maintain their legal status. What's particularly challenging is that thousands of Chinese nationals who have lived, worked, and studied in the U.S. are now caught in this crossfire. Even those with clean records face uncertainty and fear, as enforcement policies tighten and deportation orders increase. For many, 2025 marks a year of heightened risk and growing anxiety about their future in America. Thank you for sticking with us till the end. We hope this video gave you a clearer picture of the challenges faced by many Asian communities under the new U.S. immigration policies in 2025. Remember, behind every number and headline, there are real people and families affected. If this video made you think or you have a story to share, please comment below. Your voice matters, and we want to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can join us in uncovering more important stories like this. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.